Hello everyone. So we have been completing nucleus. So now we'll be seeing ultrastructure, or you can say structure of nucleus. So here what we have seen, we are going to see now structure of nucleus. So overview we have done. We have done overview, but we need to understand in detail about nucleus, every structure. Okay, so we will be doing that. So we have already seen that in case of, I'll be drawing only nucleus, not cell. Okay. So here if you see, let us consider this is nucleus. This type, this side. Okay, I'll draw it here. Okay, now you know nucleus, I told you, usually nucleus, shape of nucleus will be what? It will be spherical, okay, round in structure, and you will see that nucleus is having two membranes. So nucleus is having two membranes and you will see this type of structure. Okay, so what you can see here is that it is made up of two membranes. Okay, then inside the nucleus you will find some important structure here, and that is like this type of structure. You will find it, right? You will find this type of structure inside the nucleus. So this is nucleus we are talking about, and inside the nucleus you find this type of structure. And then what you will find inside the nucleus again, other than this, you find some thread-like material in the nucleus, like this. And what is this? So we will talk about that later. Now, so main thing what we need to understand about nucleus is that, first thing we are going to talk about the nuclear envelope. The nuclear envelope. Now, nuclear envelope is made up of what? Nuclear envelope is made up of membranes. So, we are going to talk about nuclear membranes first. After that, we'll be talking about the internal structure. Like we will be talking about, second thing, we'll be seeing about nucleolus. What is this? It is nucleolus. And this thread-like material which is found here, we call it as chromatin. We call it as chromatin. Right? And then I told you this, nucleus, it's surrounded by some liquid type material. I had told you that it has some liquid jelly-like substance. Like how cell has cytoplasm, nucleus is also having some liquid-like material which is called as what? Which is called as nucleoplasm. Right? So all these things are very much important according to what? To study about nucleus. Then now we need to see it like in detail. We are going to do about nucleus. So one by one I'll be I'll be writing here and then I'll be explaining. So first thing what we will do, first thing we will study about the nuclear envelope. Nuclear envelope, that means you can say nuclear membrane also. So what are the peculiar characters about this? See, you can see here nuclear membrane, you can see that it is made up of two membranes, right? So the first point is that it is made up of two membranes, right? Now this one is outer membrane, this is inner membrane, right? Can you understand this? Now it is made up of two membranes, first thing. Then we will see what all is there in this nuclear membrane. So for this I need to rub this diagram here because I don't have place. So I'll be rubbing it and I'll be showing it in detail. Let's keep it half, so that if any doubts we can clear it. So see here. Now what you can see here is the nuclear envelope. Now nuclear envelope, if I draw it here, how you can see that, if I show this two nuclear envelope, I mean this side and this side, this is the outer membrane and it has inner membrane. The other side also it has outer membrane and inner membrane. Wherever this outer membrane and inner membrane have joined, there you will find this, this space here. Okay. So this is called outer membrane. This is outer nuclear membrane. This one is outer nuclear membrane. Outer nuclear membrane. And what you find here, this is inner nuclear membrane. right? Okay, so one is outer and the other one is inner nuclear membrane. So then, okay, so what you will find here, in between these two, okay, you have a space, and this space is called nuclear pore. It is called nuclear pore. Now what is the important thing to study here is that you can see outer membrane, outer one and the inner one. In between these two membranes there is a space here. Can you observe this space? And this space is called perinuclear space. We call it as perinuclear space. So here if you see the space which is there here inside nuclear envelope I am shown, and here in between what space you have, this and this, it's called perinuclear space. Now wherever this outer membrane and inner membrane have joined, because of that only what has happened, a pore has been, you can see the pore here, and that pore is called what? It is called as nuclear pore. Clear? Now what we need to see now next, okay? So this much you have understood. Now this pore is very much important. So we have to see in detail about the nuclear pore. Other than that, we need to understand one more thing. Inner nuclear membrane is towards what? It is towards nucleoplasm. It is towards nucleoplasm. And outer membrane is towards what? If you see this, outer membrane is towards what? It is towards the cell, no? Because you have this cell and inside the cell you have this nucleus. So the outer membrane is towards what? It is towards the cytoplasm. And inner membrane is towards this one. It will be inside, it will be nucleoplasm. So what is the thing you have to understand here is that this is towards nucleoplasm, and what about this outer membrane? It is towards what? It is towards, you can remember that, it is towards cytoplasm. I hope this much is clear now. So this is nuclear membrane. Now, so we understood outer membrane, we understood inner membrane. It has a space called perinuclear space. Inner membrane is towards the nucleoplasm, outer membrane is towards the cytoplasm. Okay. Now, what is the peculiar thing about this, nuclear membrane that we need to see now? So here what you can see is that, okay, I'll be rubbing this. You have taken down, please note it down. Okay, so then, okay, now I'll be rubbing these things. Okay, now let us see the next peculiar things about the nucleus and the nuclear pore. However, we are going to study in detail about this. So as I told you, this is nuclear envelope, which is outer membrane, and this is inner membrane. Now in the last class only I had told you, usually whenever you see this nucleus, what is associated with this membrane, outer membrane? Usually we see that it is associated with one more organelle, and that is called what? Endoplasmic, right? Endoplasmic reticulum. What we call it as? We call it as endoplasmic reticulum. I'll be rubbing this also because of space. Okay, so this is, usually the outer membrane will be associated with endoplasmic reticulum. Now if this endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes on its structure, then we call it as rough endoplasmic reticulum. If it is not having, then we call it as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So finally what we need to understand here is that it has endoplasmic reticulum on the surface. Clear? Now that means outer membrane is continuous with endoplasmic reticulum. So then this is clear now. This is the thing, that outer membrane is continuous to membrane. So next thing, outer membrane, take down this one, is continuous. I'll be rubbing this also now. It is continuous with endoplasmic reticulum. Clear? So these are the two peculiar things about outer membrane. And you know that inner membrane don't have any other organelles there bounded to inner membrane. Anyways, this is about the membranes, the outer membrane and the inner membrane. Then what we will see next is nuclear pore. Okay, this much is clear, right? And one more thing, outer membrane of nucleus, the outer membrane of nucleus, it also has ribosomes on its surface, right? So when we are doing ribosomes, we have discussed about this, that ribosomes are found on endoplasmic reticulum. They are found on the outer envelope of nucleus. They are also found in chloroplast. They are also found in mitochondria. They are also found freely in the cytoplasm also. So it can have ribosomes also. So what you will write here? It can also has or also have ribosomes. Clear? This is all about what? The outer membrane of nucleus. Okay, I hope this much is clear. Now what we'll be seeing is that we will be seeing about the pore, the nuclear pore. Okay, when you see nucleus as a round ball, just imagine nucleus as a ball. It has so many holes. Okay, you can see that. You can imagine that ball with so many holes, or you can say it is pores. Okay, so those pores, nuclear pores, we call it as nuclear pore. Why that pore is formed? Actually because of connection of this outer membrane and inner membrane joined together in some areas that cause that pore. Okay, so what you will see, how you will see that pore here, if I show you, just now I have already shown you. So this is the pore, this is the space here. So we call it as pore. Which pore? Nuclear pore, right? Now this pore, if you see how actually it looks, if you see that pore, actually, you know, it is just like a cylinder. We are talking about, we have done about nuclear envelope. So we are talking about nuclear pore. So first take down. The second thing we are talking about, nuclear pore. Okay, so let us consider this is the outer membrane and this is the inner membrane. This is the outer membrane and this is the inner membrane. Okay, so this is outer membrane and this is inner nuclear membrane. Same thing here also, it's outer and inner. So what you can see here, in between these two, you will see this, what? You will see this nuclear pore. And this nuclear pore, if you see, it just looks like a cylinder. Okay, so we call it as annulus. What do we call it as? Annulus, because it just looks like a cylinder. And this cylinder is made up of, again, 8 micro cylinders. Now if you see this annulus, like imagine it's made up of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can you imagine this? 8 cylinders together like this, right? Like this. 8 cylinders, micro cylinders. So these micro cylinders, so we call them as micro cylinders, right? So what you can understand here, annulus is just like a big cylinder and annulus is made up of 8 micro cylinders. That also we need to write it here. It is 8 micro cylinders. I hope this much is clear now. Now what you can see here is that in between, if you see, there is a space. Now if I show it like this for you people, if I show you it in this way, if you see it from upper side, it looks like this, right? So now this is 8 micro cylinders. Togetherly we call it as what? We call it as annulus because it looks like a cylinder. These are micro cylinders. Okay, then this space, this is called a lumen. What do you call this space as? This space here, if you see here, it is called lumen. Same thing I'll show it here. So this space is called lumen. Space is usually called lumen. This lumen we have already come across in thylakoids also. So thylakoids also have this lumen, same lumen here also. So this is called lumen. Now what is the peculiar thing about this cylinder or this annulus or the nuclear pore is that this nuclear pore itself, it helps in passing the important materials from the nucleus outside the nucleus. That means transport of material from cell to nucleus, nucleus to cell happens with the help of nuclear pore. Other than that, the membranes are not allowing the materials to pass. So for that reason only they have so many pores. And what do you think? What is coming out from this nuclear pore? DNA is present inside the nucleus, right? So DNA produces DNA produces RNA, mRNA, transcription, all these things we have seen, no? Already we have done in molecular basis of inheritance, we people know that. So those things have to be transported out. There are some RNA materials which has to be transported out. So all those things which is transported out to the cell, it comes from the nuclear pore. It acts like transport membrane protein we have done in case of the first chapter, right? Transport in plants we have done there. So in the same way it works, like that transport membrane protein only it works. Okay. Now this lumen, actually it is not empty. It is not empty lumen. It actually has some liquid here, some liquid like or electron rich dense material is there here. This lumen actually has this electron dense material, and what do we call it as? It's filled with this, and we call this actually lumen. I'll be just rubbing it because you'll get confused with that. So you understood what is lumen, right? Now this material which is there here, this is called, so this liquid like material what it is present is called nucleoplasmin. What it is called? It is called nucleoplasmin. Okay, and this nucleoplasmin plays very important role in transporting materials because it's not an empty space. So nuclear togetherly, this annulus, okay, and this microcylinders, lumen and nucleoplasmin sorry, togetherly it is called as nuclear pore complex. So what we were doing? We were doing nuclear pore complex. So togetherly you call it as nuclear pore complex. I hope it's clear now. Okay, togetherly what you call it as? Nuclear pore complex. So question will come from here, so be alert about this. So nuclear pore complex, it has annulus, microcylinders. How many? 8 microcylinders, and it has lumen, and lumen is filled with some electron dense material, and that electron dense material is called nucleoplasmin. Okay, so we have understood now what? Nuclear pore complex. Let's move forward. The third thing what we are going to discuss now, what is left now in case of nucleus, what is left? So next thing what we will see is about nucleoplasm. Nucleoplasm, don't get confused with nucleoplasm and nucleoplasmin. Nucleoplasmin is present in the pore, nuclear pore. Nucleoplasm is what? Nucleoplasm, if this is a nucleus, the thing what is present, the liquid material is called nucleoplasm, right? Now what is peculiar thing about nucleoplasm? See, nucleoplasm is also very important. See, nucleoplasm has some important material. That is why nucleus have membrane in order to separate it from cytoplasm. Now nucleoplasm have some important things which should not get mixed with cytoplasm. That is why nucleus has membrane. That means nucleoplasm have very important material. Then what it has? See, nucleoplasm, when you see this nucleoplasm, usually what you will see, the thread like material is present here in the nucleoplasm. So what is present in the nucleoplasm? The chromatin material. What do we call it as? Chromatin. Now what is chromatin? See, there are completely so many I have seen many students who have this lot of confusion with chromatin. So please watch the next video to get it cleared about chromatin. I'll be dealing about chromatin in detail in next video. Okay, so here just remember it is chromatin. Okay, we will be dealing about that in next. It has chromatin here, and then what it has? It has nucleolus. Yes or no? It has nucleolus. Somewhere in the nucleoplasm you have this nucleolus here, round structure. Then what else do you have? You have enzymes. I mean, this nucleoplasm will have enzymes. Now, why do it require enzymes? Is enzyme important? Yes, it is important. Why? Because nucleus only has this chromatin. Chromatin is nothing but DNA. Okay, then DNA synthesis, mRNA synthesis requires enzymes. So those enzymes are present in the nucleoplasm. Without those enzymes, transcription cannot take place, replication cannot take place. So all these enzymes are important for these functions. Clear? Okay, this is about what? Nucleoplasm. There is one more thing I forgot to tell you. Nucleoplasm is also called as karyolim. It is also called as karyolim. Karyon means what? Karyon means nucleus. Lymph means what? It's tissue or fluid substance. So karyolim means what? Nucleoplasm. Okay, I think it's clear here. Nucleoplasm. Then what we will see now? Only this much. Along with this, it has some water and proteins, which is required. Okay, this much is about nucleoplasm. Then we will see in detail about these structures which is present in the nucleoplasm. First of all, it is chromatin and nucleolus. So now what I'll be doing is, I'll be just telling about nucleolus. Chromatin we will do in the next video. It has completely, we are doing about chromosomes. There we will be discussing about chromatin in detail and with the basics. Okay, now coming to the next part, that is, we are talking about this part. This is what? This is Nucleolus. Fine. So we will talk about, so I think it's the fourth part or second or third. Third, I guess. Yeah. Nucleolus. Third or fourth, I forgot. Okay, we are talking about nucleolus. Now this nucleolus is present within the nucleus. This at least is clear. Peculiar thing about nucleolus is that it doesn't have any membrane. It has no membrane. But whenever we draw it circular like this only, as if it is having membrane. But it is not having any membrane. Okay, it looks like it has membrane, but it is not having any membrane. This should be clear. Okay, so nucleolus has no membrane. And then why nucleolus is important? See, nucleolus is important because it helps in rRNA synthesis. Also, it helps in all different RNA synthesis here. So, rRNA synthesis is very much important because why? Because rRNA is important for what? Important for the structure of ribosomes. Ribosomes are called as protein factories. You people know very well about that. And nucleolus is called as ribosome factories because nucleolus produces ribosomes. So ribosomes are produced with the help of rRNA, which is synthesized in the nucleolus. So ribosomes are produced. They are produced in the nucleolus. So the function of nucleolus is production of ribosomes. Then what is the constituent of nucleolus? What is present in the nucleolus? That if you want to see it's same like nucleoplasm. Why it is same like nucleoplasm? Because it doesn't have membrane. Obviously, if it is not having any differentiating membrane there, then whatever is there in the outside fluid, same thing will be there inside also. So whatever we have written for whatever we have written for nucleoplasm, same thing will be writing here also. So it has some enzymes. Okay, it has some enzymes. It have water, protein. Okay, all these things. Okay, so chromatin, chromatin also, some part of chromatin is also found inside the nucleolus. Okay, anyways, this much is important for nucleolus. I think I made it clear about all the structure. So next part is chromosome actually. So there only I'll be explaining chromatin and everything in detail. Okay. I hope it's clear. If any doubts, please comment and tell me which is the doubt and I'll be explaining it again. Thank you.